With just under a month until the inaugural American Athletic Conference Volleyball Tournament Championship, a critical matchup takes place this afternoon in Orlando. It's Tulane and UCF for the first and only time this regular season. The Green Wave come in at 16-6, the Knights 15-6, and both come in off a sweep over the weekend. They are also towards the top of very crowded divisions in the West and East. UCF 8-1 to sit in a tie with Cincinnati, while Tulane fighting for position and fighting for a berth in the American Athletic Volleyball Championship. Alongside Adam Johnson, Mike Lefko with you. Excited to bring you this one this afternoon. Adam, a matchup of two very good teams, a lot on the line and a lot at stake in this matchup.
Two very good teams, and UCF is excited that they're only getting a chance to play them one time, and it might as well be at their home court. You got a great blocking and defensive team in Tulane, and you've got a great offensive team in UCF, so it should be a great matchup.
For Tulane, what will be the key to come in and pull off, not maybe an upset, because both these are very, very good, but to pull off the win on the road?
Well, serve, receive, right? This is the hardest skill in volleyball, and Coach Barnes is going to need his libero and his outside hitters to pass in system to be successful tonight for UCF. And hitting percentage, this sounds obvious, but Tulane is going to have to keep their attacks in the court and put the pressure on UCF to keep them out of system. And if they do this, they also need to hit over 400 tonight.
On the other side, for UCF to protect their home court, what do they have to do?
There are games within the games, as we say, in this match. UCF feels they need to win the serving game. They need to serve tough and keep Tulane out of system, which will give themselves more opportunities. Distributing the ball. Tulane is a very good blocking team, so UCF setters are going to have to make great adjustments setting the ball from pin to pin to try and throw off their blockers.
For the Green Wave, does it start with the libero? Everything that they do kind of comes off of what Kaylee McHugh can do?
And like we mentioned earlier, there's a very good defensive team, and you know, when Tulane talks about serve receive, senior Kaylee McHugh comes to mind. She's the best, one of the best liberos in the American Conference, and she's playing in her home state, and look for her to have a great night.
And for UCF, well, it's more on the offensive end. Erin Olsen, the one that kind of dictates this attack.
Well, we mentioned distributing the ball, and well, senior setter Erin Olsen, comes to mind, and she's been doing it for the past 4 years, so she should be able to get her hitters a one-on-one opportunity against the block on a good pass for sure.
Tulane and UCF. 16-6 versus 15-6. Gonna be a great matchup, and it comes your way next on the American Digital Network.
No matter where Tulaneans go or what we're doing, we're making an impact. Over 160,000 Tulaneans making a difference at home and around the world.
When we say charge on, we commit to do extraordinary things, to put in the work, to be smarter and stronger, to let them know we're coming. Charge on! Charge on!
Welcome back. The lights are off, the excitement building, and let's keep the excitement going by joining the third member of our broadcast crew, Despina McLaughlin.
Yeah, guys, it is extremely loud in here. There's a lot of energy. You guys see the lights out. They're doing the starting lineups. But before all the festivities get going, I was able to talk to both sides. And I know you guys know it. These two teams are very similar in the way that they like to attack and attack from multiple angles. So the key for head coach for the UCF Knights, Taj Dejanay, he says it's going to come from the service line, how hard and where he places the ball that first serve. And for Tulane, of course, and Coach Jim Barnes, he says he's so happy to have his full starting lineup back and healthy here today. And he says the key is going to come down to passing. Whichever team passes better will win this match, guys.
Thank you, Despina, and that's something that we talked a little bit about as well, that we know Jim Barnes really heightened on the serve-receive game just to get this team off to a good note. And here's what Jim Barnes has done in his short tenure at Tulane. Gotten them to 61 wins. to the brink of the NCAA tournament last year. Instead, they made a very deep run through the National Invitational Volleyball Championship. They finished as the runner-up. So this Tulane team, how important will that be to get off on the right foot on that serve receive?
Well, like I said earlier, serve receive is the hardest skill in volleyball. So you definitely want to be focused on that exact skill. It starts with the pass, period. And that's all you need to think about and go from there. So it's definitely going to be something to get ahead of right off the bat.
And for Todd Dagenet, the UCF Knights have built into a perennial power in his tenure. 12th year head coach. He is trying to chase down the victory list as he climbs into the 2019 season, getting up to the all-time wins mark. Brought them to an undefeated conference mark last year, 18-0 in the American Athletic Conference, and they're trying to replace the loss of their all-time leader in digs, Jordan Pingle, but so far have done well. 8-1 in the American Athletic Conference. They did have a loss to Cincinnati. That was a match that was broadcasted here on the American Digital Network a couple of weeks ago. That was key. They're both 8-1. We'll see how UCF comes out of this weekend, heading into what will only be 6 matches left in the regular season after this one.
Things go by quickly.
Really does. And then the inaugural conference tournament. First year they will hold a volleyball conference tournament. Comes up at the end of November. Starts on November 22nd. UCF on the attack early. There's a quick setup and a point for the Knights.
And up and quick. That's running the offense. And what you want to do is really establish the middle right off the bat, which is going to create opportunities on the outsides.
Really quick play there to Lachey Harper, the 6'2 redshirt junior. And there was no hesitation. UCF jumped out to a really quick start against Houston as Tulane evens it up.
And I believe that was Yvette Bruchescu on the outside. And all these off plays are always going to be set outside. You always want a big hitter, and you have one right there for Tulane.
Bruchescu had a couple of double-digit kill performances earlier this season. Averages a little over 2 kills per set. Good dig by McHugh. We highlighted her earlier. They're trying to figure out some space cross court. That one's put away by McKenna Melville, one of the best attackers in the conference.
Yeah, and you're gonna
UCF in front.
Yeah, and you're gonna hear her name a lot today. She's a powerhouse on the outside, one of the best in the league, and probably in the country as well.
Found that space, and when you have that range like Melville does, what are you looking for when you have a good cross-court shot like that?
Well, you're looking for the open space either in between the block or around the block. She has a great, like you mentioned the Cincinnati match, she was able to have a lot of different range and what you need to have as an outside hitter.
There's UCF again, and all of a sudden the Knights building some momentum.
And that's, again, what you want to do. Go to the middle nice and early, and Moravec getting up there nice and quick.
Well, tip over the top, and the misdirection works for the Green Wave to stymie that Knights attack.
And that looked like it could have been a pretty easy play. Kuchmaner just going for this ball with one hand. I'm a huge component of 2 hands. You have more space, and especially when you have the opportunity to get it there.
Service error by the Green Wave brings it back to the Knights. That serve-receive game, well, if you don't make them work for it, don't have to do much.
You definitely don't, because when if it's an offset, you know exactly where that ball's going as a blocker.
Back-to-back service errors as we try to settle into the early going of this first set. Tulane and UCF feeling each other out. 2 very good teams coming off sweeps on Friday. Tulane beat USF 3-0, and UCF had really no trouble with Houston. The Cougars only had 1 loss prior to this. To the outside, wide open space. Anne-Marie Watson gets the kill.
And Anne-Marie Watson, great time to set on the right side. A perfect pass. Once again, she's got a one-on-one attack on the outside, and she puts that ball down with no problem.
Just came into this match, a junior from Oviedo, so doesn't have to go far to play at UCF. And a preseason all-conference selection. Out wide to Watson again. Tulane is there. working around the rotation. That one hit from the back line and all the way chased down, and UCF able to save it.
You always like to see that kind of movement on a team.
Settling back in, long point, shifting back and forth. Melville was denied as Tulane gets the point.
And that wasn't denied too long after that block out of the back row. And that's what we talked about earlier. Tulane's got a great block, and as we see it right here, Laura Green getting right over that net and putting that ball down.
Two very good defensive teams. Tulane averaging a little over 2.6 blocks per set, UCF 2.9, and that defense for Tulane has kept them in it early on in this one.
Well, and the coaches I've always had and myself, defense is the game. If you win the defensive game, you win the match.
How much does that wear on a team, too, when you go up for kill after kill and it's just kind of getting blocked back and nothing can get through that wall?
Well, I think in today's game, it's kind of lost because now we're looking at the big hitter, and that's all. But if you can't put the ball down on the ground, the other team's going to get very frustrated.
Now, Tulane has one of the more impressive wins in the conference this season, a sweep of Cincinnati. That came back on October 18th, and in that match, they shut down one of the best attackers in the nation. Jordan Thompson hit only .067. That defense holding strong again. But here's UCF stymieing them. Christina Fisher and Lachey Harper.
And Christina Fisher, a local Austonian, we might say, getting well over the net, putting that left hand strong and putting that ball down before she even hit the ground.
There is so much experience on this UCF team. They returned all but one starter from that 27-win team last year. And there's the comfort level. How does that comfort level help when you bring back this much experience?
Oh, well, experience is everything. And, you know, I played in college at USC, and as a freshman, you know, and then as a sophomore, you're just gaining more knowledge and more knowledge. So if you have the unit together for as long as possible and then just plugging in one or two players, that's huge.
7-6, Tulane leads in the early going. UCF hitting just 167. That one does go off and goes to UCF.
I think Christina Fisher might have hit Mr. Antenna there, and when you hit Mr. Antenna, he doesn't like it, and he usually wins.
Now, Tulane, its largest lead of the first set. They've maintained their serve advantage. At that time, a good cross-court kill to bring the serve back over to the Knights.
And it all started again with a perfect pass, and that just opens up the game dramatically. It holds the middle blocker. We got a one-on-one set on the outside here, and Allie Sable had no problem putting that ball down.
Erin Olsen already with 3 assists. Her sister Amber Olsen already with 2. And UCF spreading the ball around to their outsides as Melville put a big swing into it. Blocked right back by the Knights.
And that's something that we didn't talk too much about with the Knights and their blocking ability, but as we see here, putting up a nice block, Allie Sable and Harper just putting that ball down.
It's a couple of times Lachey Harper has slid over. How might Tulane adjust now as that slide starts to look good for UCF?
I think, again, it starts with the pass, and if you can establish the middle, that just creates opportunities for the pin hitters, because the middle blocker on UCF has to commit with the middle.
That's something Jim Barnes did tell us, that they like to attack out of the middle. They like to work consistently. So far, we've seen that more from UCF. Evidence right there as Lachey Harper continues to be destructive early on.
And again, you know, I can't say it too often. Perfect pass, and she's just Harper getting right in between the two blocks.
Exactly how this match started. A quick set up to Lachey Harper and put it right down the middle. Tied at 9. It was blocked out by UCF, so Tulane stays in front. And Lexi Douglas will go back to serve. Kind of a young Tulane team. They took a lot of momentum off of that deep run through the postseason last year. But Douglas is a junior, one of the older players on this team.
Another block.
Rachescu couldn't find space. A fake to the middle and got the outside, a good look.
Allie Sable, the lefty on the right side. It's always nice to have a left-handed right side player, because it's just like having a right-handed outside hitter. So she could see the ball coming to her and sees the court very well.
Sable, a senior, will rotate out. And Tulane finds some space cross court.
Yeah, and Kayla Dinkins doing a great job actually coming to the setter. This isn't a perfect pass, as you can see right here, and getting to that ball, putting it down for a point.
Dinkins is just a sophomore. She is one of the best defensive players in the conference. In fact, entered the weekend leading the conference in blocks and blocks per set, showing her offensive ability. But the Tulane blocking has been very impressive so far in the early going.
And we saw right there, we saw Berchescu just, I mean, unleashing and getting over and, you know, putting Melville down.
UCF's only loss was to Cincinnati. It was on the road. They've been very good at home this year.
I think it's going to be an interesting matchup because I actually saw that game, and UCF lost in 3, yet Tulane beat Cincinnati in 3. So this is going to be an interesting game.
Common opponents are plentiful, of course, in the conference, and then you want to swing the comparison the other way. Tulane lost in 5 to Houston. UCF just swept Houston, so who knows what to make. Very balanced, it looks like, and the score would indicate that so far. Dead knotted at 12. Actually 12, yeah, 12-12 now. After that point won by UCF. And the hitting percentage has really bumped up for the Knights now, hitting .238 so far in this set.
Great dig in the back row right there.
Big block, and it just got in for Tulane. Got it in on the sideline.
Quick set right here. Great defense being picked up here. Tulane really ready for this ball and just kind of sliding out there, but Heidelberg are having a great block right there.
Second on the team in digs, Michaela Heidelberg also has 5 double-doubles. She's very good in all aspects of defense for the Green Wave. Cross court, McKenna Melville couldn't find it. And a big swing by Tulane to extend the advantage once again.
Rare hitting error for Melville right there.
Michaela Heidelberg with the kill. That's her first. Lexi Douglas has carried the way for Tulane. 3 kills on 5 swings. UCF, no hesitation, going to the outside.
Christina Fisher, a senior, having just a great season so far. Real steady player on the outside. This is kind of an inside X play, if you will. One blocker up, putting it down for a point.
Fisher, another one of those all-conference selections. 3 of them on UCF. There were high expectations to begin this year for the Knights. They've backed it up so far as they look to get back to the NCAA tournament. And the benefit of this, Adam, is in the postseason here in the conference tournament, it will be played right here on UCF's home court.
Yeah, talking to Coach Dagenet, he's not even, we try and press him on that question. He's like, I'm not even talking about it. I mean, we got to get by, you know, whatever match it was right then and there, which I agree with. I mean, they already know how they play at home, so let's just worry about who we need to play to get there.
And right now, try to get past Tulane, because the Green Wave giving the Knights everything they can handle. 15-14. Nearly going to this one.
Oh, great one-handed stab almost in the back row for Tulane.
Instead, ricochets out toward the scorer's table.
I believe that was Melville out of the back row for UCF.
And McKenna Melville already with 3 kills, but 2 attacking errors. Now Melville has a chance to be maybe one of the best to come through UCF when it's all said and done. She's only a sophomore. She was the ACC Freshman of the Year last year. 528 kills, 10th most in UCF history last season. And would it surprise you to know that her mother is in the Minnesota Volleyball Coaches Hall of Fame? So it comes from good coaching stock.
I wonder what happened to my daughter.
In the blood of McKenna Melville.
Free ball coming right here. Could be a point.
Big swing by Fisher. And indeed, it is a point for the Knights.
And that's another aspect of the game. The not only the serve receive, but the free ball passing also. Usually it should be 90-95%. You know, that means a perfect pass on a free ball. That's why they call it a free ball. And right here, well, not right here, but you do see that there was a free ball pass right here that is perfect, gives the setter many opportunities, and you get a one-on-one on the outside, and Christina Fisher puts that down.
And a good set by Erin Olsen, who we highlighted at the start of this match, the senior from Cary, Illinois. Didn't play in the NCAA tournament loss. She was out with injury. Who knows how that might have changed things for the Knights in their 5-set loss to Florida Gulf Coast. But certainly a stunning upset last year in the NCAA tournament. The Knights had already beaten FGCU twice. Tough to beat a team 3 times, and without their primary setter, Erin Olsen, UCF did lose that match.
Everybody kind of thinks, you know, it is hard to beat a team 3 times or 4 times because eventually you're going to have to be able to beat them, right? The odds are. So, but sometimes there's an advantage and sometimes there's the disadvantage in that.
With the familiarity, I'm sure it works both ways. Even the team beating that team has a familiarity, but how would it help a team like that, like a Florida Gulf Coast? They lose twice and then they put it together for that 3rd match.
Well, I think, you know, it's a mental, you know, this game's a mental game. It's 90% mental. And if, you know, UCF comes in thinking, hey, we beat these guys two times prior pretty easily. We got this. If the Florida team can get it out of their mind that they can play with these guys, they're going to have some success.
Back row kill. There was some confusion. One referee said it was not touched. The other one said yes. Overruled, and goes to UCF.
Yeah, as a coach or a player, sometimes you don't like the up ref making the overruling because they do have a great vantage point up there, but not all the time.
That goes as another kill to McKenna Melville. She's now up to 4. Most kills of anyone in this match so far. Tied at 16, the opening set of what will be a critical match for conference seeding. As we talked about what Tulane and UCF are fighting for in the postseason. Olsen runs it down. And a good point by the Knights.
And that was a great play. It was kind of a back and forth kind of play right there, really. But Ali Sable, the lefty, finally putting that ball down for a point.
A big game so far for Ali Sable. 3 kills on 4 total attacks. So that has been a good boost. Sable didn't come into this match having played much, but look at that boost by the senior for Todd Dagenet as UCF tooth and nail trying to fight through a tough Tulane team that is 6-3 in the conference. Now they've beaten some very good teams. They knocked off SMU. SMU has a 7-2 record. They dealt Cincinnati the only loss. So for this UCF team, this might be a good test of a potential first-round conference opponent, first-round maybe NCAA opponent. You'll see same type of caliber.
Same type of caliber, and again, we talked to Todd about that, Dagenet, and he's not thinking that far ahead. He's one of those coaches, and when I was playing with Karch Karai, he's the ultimate 1 point at a time. It's one act at a time. So when you're playing, it's the pass, and after the pass, it's the set. After the set, it's the kill, and it's the defense and all that. So I think Coach Dagenet has that kind of mindset, and I think that's just going to help him in the long run.
So when you're in the midst of it, you have to think 1 point at a time. But we can think, extrapolate well out there, and that's what makes it fun. But certainly understandable that UCF is just focused on this set and this match against Tulane, and then what will be a pretty tough stretch coming up. They'll take on down the road rival USF, then go to SMU, who's sitting towards the top of the West, and then that home match against Cincinnati looms on November 10th. That will likely decide the East Division here in the American Athletic Conference.
That'll definitely be a great match.
Harper, a big swing. She has owned the middle so far in this first set.
And UCF really getting in on the passing game early and really setting the middle and establishing it.
Lachey Harper, good to see her fully healthy. The redshirt junior dealt with injuries most of last season, but looking solid right now as UCF's trying to surge away, but Tulane just staying right with them. 18-17, the Knights lead on their home court.
Yeah, these tight games, it's going to come. What comes down to is the mental part of the game. You get 20 all, 21 all. Who's going to make the first few mistakes? Usually at that point, teams start rattling off a few points if they catch somebody off guard.
That's one thing that Tulane really is trying to put together. They talked about putting together 6 sets. Felt they left a lot out there last weekend when they beat Cincinnati, and then blew a 2-0 advantage against ECU. So Jim Barnes stressed that they have to put 6 complete sets together. And they're trying to do that after 3 nice ones against USF on Friday. Harper plays it right over to McHugh. Nothing going there for Tulane. And Melville is able to get it back with a violation on Tulane there.
Yeah, and you got to really watch the game, and I think UCF really made a mistake right there. They got called on 4 touches, and you got to see that 3rd touch and hit that ball. There's the 2nd touch and hit that ball over the net.
And Tulane, that point, that was meant violation on UCF, so ball was back to Tulane, but they give it right back. And here's Amber Olsen, younger sister of Aaron Olsen, and they're both from Illinois. And Amber Olsen was actually recruited to UCF by assistant coach Jenny Maurer, who was the Bradley head coach when the Olsens were coming up.
Sounds like the Olsen twins.
Yes. If only they were the same age, but certainly a big presence out there for UCF. And here's McHugh, one of the best servers in this conference. Had 63 service aces last year. Olsen to the outside. Ooh, blocked right back down.
Huge block right there. Anne-Marie Watson up on the right side, really just shutting this ball down. Great set outside, getting up high and hard, taking the line away, putting it down for a point.
Marissa Moravec was also in on that one. And look at the size of UCF right now on the front. A couple of 6'2" players, a 6-footer up there, and certainly spring ability, as we saw in that last block.
And they're growing them taller and stronger these days.
How has the game evolved with just natural evolution, with players being taller, as you were just talking about, and jumping higher?
Well, for me, I think you always hear them, okay, let's raise the net. You know, it's kind of like in basketball. I mean, they say it's getting ridiculous, but it's the same. Everything's kind of the same. It's just that these athletes are now taller, stronger, quicker, and all the above. So it's really neat to see. I'd love to play in this kind of atmosphere. You know, I've always been small. 6'3" is small in volleyball, and fortunately I had a quick arm swing, and I had some good hops. So that's how I was able to get through. But to play against those large guys, it'd be fun to see.
Do you think they should raise the net in college volleyball?
I don't know. You know, it's one of those things. I mean, maybe when everybody's jumping 50, 60 inches, which, you know, in the future, who knows what they're going to be putting in the food by then. But I don't think so right now.
It seems like it would change so much. Strategy, how you attack, how you formulate a plan for that. And it's pretty fun to see how far above the net these girls can go.
They did change the court size in beach volleyball. We used to play 2-man beach volleyball. We used to play on the same size court as the indoor game. They made it smaller and whatnot. So that's a huge thing for beach volleyball.
Well, out of the timeout, UCF will look to lock down this first set, 22-19 advantage. After a slow start, the Knights have turned it on here in the middle half. Christina Fisher popped it over the block.
Great dig.
Right back to Fisher with Tulane ready. So UCF goes to the other side, and Anne-Marie Watson finds some ground.
And the setter is just distributing the ball left side, right side, left side, right side, really making the Tulane blockers move and creating space for their hitters.
That was Amber Olsen on that assist.
Nice dig in the back row.
UCF trying to swing the momentum. Tulane, little tap over the top. And just played back over by Fisher. And a green wave hit it out. An attacking error by Yvette Perchescu.
Yeah, and not the best time to make a hitting error, but Perchescu really trying to hit that sharp angle, just missing it wide.
And it brings set point for the Knights. Fans on their feet. UCF has been on fire lately. 6 straight wins. haven't dropped his set this week. Olsen right down the middle, and it results in the winning point in set number 1. Narissa Moravec got the kill.
And again, going right to the middle. It's almost like, you know, we have a saying, you know, go to the well until it's dry. And right now, the middle is not dry at all for UCF.
All right, right now, when they switch over, 1 set in the books for UCF. Let's go down to Despina McLaughlin.
Hey guys, it's kind of a homecoming for number 33, Michaela Heidelberg for Tulane. She played 30 minutes west of here at West Orange, won every single match of her senior year, won a state championship, and she's got all her family and friends here in the stands here today. She told me she chose Tulane over Miami because she wanted to get a little bit away, but her parents haven't missed a single match. And she's got her cousins, her parents, everybody here. And even before today's match, everybody was spending the afternoon at her family's house. Yesterday they cooked dinner, they had pasta, salad, and even a little bit of dessert after they beat USF on Friday. Something to celebrate and something they're looking forward to coming back here in the second set, guys.
Thanks, Despina. My next question would be, is there anything left over? Well, we'll figure that out when we return. UCF, 1 set in the books. They're up 25-19, and we will be right back for set number 2 on the American Digital Network.
No matter where Tulaneans go or what we're doing, we're making an impact. Over 160,000 Tulaneans making a difference at home and around the world.
When we say charge on, we commit to do extraordinary things, to put in the work, to be smarter and stronger, to let them know we're coming. Charge on! Charge on!
A 5-0 scoring run by UCF puts the Knights in front 1-0. 1 set in the books. It was a first set shaping up where it looked like the Green Wave on that defense had some momentum. They had the block going. Then UCF just hit another gear down the stretch.
Well, and as I said before, in these matches, when you're playing against 2 high-level teams like this, it's going to come down to who mentally is a little tougher and who wants it more. And as we saw, UCF went on a 5-point run, and I said when the points get tight, 20-all, 21-all, whatever, you're going to start to see some runs happen, and that's exactly what happened for UCF.
That's the experience of a Knights team that has played some postseason volleyball with this very same group. A lot of juniors and seniors on this roster. And the 2 players that had the biggest impact in the first set, Narissa Moravec and Lachey Harper, both redshirt juniors, both had perfect hitting percentages. Harper 4 kills on 4 swings, and Moravec 2 kills on 2 swings. And that primarily, it seemed like, Adam, came out of the middle, especially for Lachey Harper.
I was just about to say, and what position did they play? They were both middles, and that's you want to establish the middle, and UCF has done a great job establishing that. And as I was telling you, go to the well until it's dry. When it's dry, then you start distributing it other places. But it just opens up the net for UCF.
The home Knights crowd getting fired up, bouncing around. Say a couple of costumes.
We saw the butterfly. She was waving to us.
We got a banana out there. Halloween on Thursday. We're just dressed as broadcasters. Second set's underway. Faked that middle and went to the outside. A good swing by Allie Sable.
And the lefty just having a heyday on the right side there. Again, putting that ball through the block for a point.
Sable, one of those seniors that adds to this UCF team that has been very good at home this year as well. 8-2 here at the venue, the place that will host the inaugural American Athletic Conference Volleyball Tournament. So the top 6 teams make the tournament. The top 2 teams in each division, West and East. And right now, UCF is virtually a lock in the East because them and Cincinnati are 8-1. Everyone else has a losing record. Tulane fighting for position in the West. That is a crowded Western division. And we'll talk about that as the match wears on. But do you think there's going to be some urgency now down the stretch for Tulane as this match develops?
Well, it has to, especially if they lose this match. But you know, we're early into this. We're early into this second set right now. It is 3-1. But you know, the tendency is when teams lose a close match, the tendency is to sometimes instead of having the urgency, they kind of fall backwards again, and you see that quite a bit. And that's something the coaches need to get their players out of.
Couple of points rattled off in a row by the Knights. It goes right back to Tulane after a kill down the middle by Kayla Dinkins.
And that's her second kill in 2 swings in this early going in this second set.
Very deep serve by McHugh. Put a little too much force on it. Couldn't get that one to spin down and just dovetailed out past the back line.
Yeah, it looks like she's serving a float serve, which is a pretty common serve in indoors. And that thing just didn't float enough and drop. It just kind of kept floating out of bounds.
Must be the humidity down there in Florida.
You have humidity in Florida?
Yeah, a little bit. But back and forth, just like the first set. As Tulane trying to get some momentum. They hit just 143 in that first set, now hitting only 122 for the match. And UCF, after a slow start, now hitting 267. And that's pushed them up in front. Taylor Hennigsman is checked in for the first time, 5'11" sophomore. She put it in play for Tulane, and then the Green Wave put it right back on the side of UCF.
Yeah, Michaela Heidelberg. And I believe that was Lauren Green up on that block. Yep, and they just closed the door fast on that one.
I haven't said Lauren Green's name much yet. She's a freshman. She's a very good middle. Second in the conference in hitting percentage entering this weekend. A little over 336.
And another block by the same tandem right there.
Much like early in the first set, Tulane has found a little momentum with that block. And it's helped push them up and in front. A couple of good pokes by the Green Wave. But that one blocked as Heidelberg couldn't get it through the block.
And it looks like Anne-Marie Watson and Harper up on that block saying, hey, if you guys can do that to us, we can do it back to you.
And McKenna Melville plays it in. Had 4 kills in the first set. Just couldn't get a handle on that one. Skies it right back into her bench.
Yeah, Michaela Heidelberg just demolishing this ball angle, and Melville right there, but coming too quick at her, shanked it right into the crowd.
Now, Tulane 6-3 in the conference. They still have a tough road remaining. And as this one shapes up, it's, well, a good test of what the top teams in the conference look like, and for Tulane, you know, hoping to come back here and play in the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Every match matters. They just missed out on the NCAA tournament last year. You know how critical this will be this afternoon. McHugh in position after that one was blocked back. Right back to the outside. A big swing by Lexi Douglas.
Great dig down the line there. Amber Olsen almost had her head taken off. She might have taken it off the face. It's hard to see from this angle, but almost had a good up there.
Douglas now with 4 kills. That leads Tulane. To the middle again, and again, Lachey Harper. Well, that's been the bread and butter for UCF. Lachey Harper, a 6'2" middle blocker, has really just been unstoppable this afternoon.
Yeah, another good pass, and when you're, you know, when the well is not dry, you keep going back to it, and until they can stop, you know, until Tulane can stop it, you keep going at it.
So there's that chess match. How much do you commit to the middle if you're Tulane and not giving away too much on the outsides?
Well, they've been beating you up in the middle, so you have to commit, because eventually it's going to, it's going to come back and bite you in the tail.
Good tap right over the top of the block by Erica Hansel.
Just out of the reach right here of Melville. Trying to get a little pancake down this afternoon. We got to get some pizza going or something.
A good dig there, blocked away. And UCF continues to stay right with Tulane.
Yeah, another block for UCF. Ali Sable and Lachey Harper up again.
Big swing right down the middle. Tulane talking about how they wanted to establish the middle, just like UCF, and it's come to fruition so far in this second set.
And I think when both teams, it seems like when they're getting good passes, they're both going to the middles and having success.
Seems like a simple formula.
Simple. And then it becomes the cat and mouse game.
And then adjustments within adjustments. But much like the first set, it was points traded back and forth. This one has seen numerous lead changes so far, not even into the teens. And now Tulane again trying to extend an advantage after they get a lead. But that run to end the first set by UCF, very impressive. They won 5 straight points and pulled away. 25-19 win.
What a great hit on the right side by Ali Sable. The defender just putting it up against the wall. She came in with the heat right here. Again, good pass, creating a nice little open space in between the two blocks.
When you have that left-handed hitter and you're that blocking team, how do you adjust that? Or you just have to deal with that advantage?
Well, I mean, it is an advantage to have a left-hander on the right side, of course, because it's just like having a right-hander on the outside, and you kind of have to think backwards, from the side, one side of the court to the other, and kind of take it the same exact way. Look at it that same way.
Certainly looks like it will have better angle on the cross court.
Right, in the same, and as it would for a right-hander on the left side. So it's the same, it's the same, only reverse, if you will. So, but it's nice to have that left-hander on the right side.
And Ali Sable has taken advantage of that. She's hit very well so far. 5 kills on 7 swings. That was, Todd Dagenet did not like that.
And there must have been
blocking
something
error.
Yeah, I was going to say there must have been something going on there, and of course the ball never lies.
Swing it right back over to UCF. That's the 5th service error by Tulane. And every point critical in what has every indication of being very competitive sets.
What a dig right there by Melville.
And UCF gets it back over, but Tulane finishes it off with some open court.
Oh, those kind of balls. It's great to see. I'm a huge component of the defense, of course, and so when you see plays like that, I mean, a great dig down the line here by Melville, and then the chase. A lot of kids don't chase these days, but as you saw right there, they chase it, but unfortunately they try and get it back into the court instead of straight up, and that's kind of, then they don't get the point back.
Got it right back there. Quick play to the outside. Anne-Marie Watson ties this matchup, or this setup, as UCF does lead the match 1-0. But the Knights are trying to avoid a little letdown after an incredible 2018 season. It happened due to some injuries and a tough season in 2015. Made the NCAA tournament in 2014, had a letdown in 2015. Trying to keep the momentum going. With an RPI of 34, looks pretty good for UCF to get back to the NCAA tournament. And this is a group that certainly seems to have that expectation, although, as we said, Coach Todd Dagenet will never admit that because they're focused on this point in this set.
Well, you can always, I think everybody's goal is to make the tournament. So I think that's fair. That's a fair assessment to say. hey, we want to make the tournament, you know. And sometimes you go higher in the tournament in the seed than you do in others, but getting to the tournament, it's a whole new ball game.
That is the goal across the country, and for a Tulane team on the other side, so agonizingly close last year. They made the National Invitational Volleyball Championship and then got all the way to the title match of that. So that gives you a lot of momentum building into this season. And what's the expectation that this year will be the year to get that next step?
And Kayla Dinkins right out of the middle again. She's doing a great job really getting to the setter and creating space for her kill right there.
Terrific angle. Froze Melville on that. And we've seen McKenna Melville make a couple of tough digs already. 14-13 Tulane advantage. And that point goes over to UCF as an error by Tulane.
That's so unfortunate right there when you make a great dig in the back row off of nobody up really, and then the block is in the net. That's a rally killer.
We're tied once again.
Great play right there to keep the ball alive.
Aaron Olson with the diving save. And nothing comes of it, but he had that momentum and the floor burns going.
The floor burns, exactly. And this is just reaction right here. Great up right here to keep this ball alive. Free ball coming over, and then they set Dinkins in the middle for a point.
That is Allie Sable once more. The big swinging lefty. Well, we highlighted Aaron Olson, who just made that dive, as UCF's key player. And when you have a setter that can spread the ball as well as she does, how does that help when you're one of these attackers, knowing, hey, it can come to you at any place on the court?
Well, and you have to be ready for it, and that's the key to this game. And so often, even on a perfect pass, they might think, well, so-and-so is having a great hitting day, she's going to get set, but then it comes outside. You got to be ready all the time.
And that was another one served up by Aaron Olson, and Allie Sable has been the biggest beneficiary to just knock through her 7th kill of the match. Olson has 14 assists. And we do have to clarify that there's 2 Olsons, so Aaron and Amber. We talked about the Volleyball Conference Championship, but here's what's coming up on the American Digital Network. The Cross Country Championship, that's this Friday, November 1st, 10 a.m. Central Time. And then the Women's Soccer Championships next weekend, men's soccer after that. As these fall sports start to wind down, there will be plenty of excitement as you crown a champion in all of these 4 sports coming down the stretch. November, month of champions in the American Athletic Conference and on the American Digital Network. So volleyball, that's the one. We know the site. It was set based on last season's champion, which of course was UCF. But now this conference tournament, and not every coach was in favor of it because, well, it gives a team that might just be hot, not the best, the chance to steal that automatic bid.
And they've done that in the men's side of things also, where you might have the #1 team going into the playoffs. They lose, but actually get back into the tournament because they had a better regular season, schedule. And here, it's kind of the same thing. There's some coaches that like it. There's others that don't. And I particularly don't, but that's just me. I'm not playing, or I'm not a coach here.
A team like Tulane, they like the additional opportunity, chance to improve the RPI. And then those like UCF and Cincinnati, who might not need the tournament to get into the postseason. Not to say that they were strongly opposed, but they're just seeing the advantages for their team. And it might not help as much as it helps other teams.
Yeah, for me personally, playing in college, we had our Final Four, and that was it. You have your regional playoff if you're not one of the top 2 teams in the country. You have your regional playoffs, and then 1 team from each region gets out there, and then you play. There's not this other tournament to get into the tournament after the season's over.
Well, the game evolves, and I guess this is good for the student athletes. More volleyball, extend the careers, and yes, a chance for a team to get hot and steal a bid like UCF and Tulane are trying to do. And Tulane still trying to hold tight here in that second set. This is exactly where UCF ran away with it in the first set. but Tulane just a point behind. Or now, actually, that's tied. That's 17 all. That just tied it up. And on the serve of the Green Wave. But another one that floats long.
This is really where the mental part of the game comes into play. You know, everybody thinks these early points really don't matter. They really do. And when you're tied, well, it should be 18-17.
Melville played a short serve.
Free ball coming over here for UCF.
Right down the middle. And that was a big swing by Tulane.
And Lauren Green again out of the middle right here. Really just pushing that middle. Good pass right over to the right side of that block. Point Tulane.
Lauren Green now with 4 kills on 8 swings. And no errors for Green. Henningsman to the outside. Green and Douglas have been very good for Tulane in this match. Right back to the outside.
Great dig right there by Melville.
Knights
Another great dig.
Yeah, 2 great digs, but the point goes to the Knights. What an all-out attempt to save that one for the Green Wave back row.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have to do whatever. It's really a reaction sport, and you know, start things off for UCF. Melville just happened to throw her left hand up there and happened to get the ball off her hand. So great point right there for UCF.
And now the Knights, you just saw Lachey Harper right back up front in the middle. She's been their most productive weapon from that middle today. Couldn't slide over on the block though, and Tulane will grab the serve right back.
Yeah, Erica Hansel having a heyday on the right side, just hitting high off the block for a point.
Low serve, doesn't get over the net. Self-imposed penalties by Tulane. Their 7th service error.
How many does Tulane have? Or excuse me, UCF.
That's 3 for UCF.
They are winning the serving game like they said they needed to.
Serve received, critical for both teams, and those free points. You look at the score.
Serve right there.
What a play. What a serve by UCF. A little deception with everyone playing back for Tulane. And a timeout called by Jim Barnes. Critical situation right now for his team.
Yeah, this is a nice little float serve. Look at you. No spin on that ball, and that thing just died.
Knuckleball.
That's exactly what the float serve is. That was the worst serve I ever received. I did not like them. I got good at it, at receiving them, of course, but I would rather have the teams jump serve me, you know, overhand spike serve every time, because I used to be quick and I can get right there in the position.
Is that something that you deploy when you're a server in a situation like that? Do you see everyone playing back, or in a situation late in this set, or just is it a preferred serve of server to server?
I think it's been around forever, and if you can make the ball what I call dance, it's a very effective serve no matter who you're serving. And whether she was trying to serve that ball short, sometimes you just get lucky and that ball, you know, you're trying to hit it deeper and it falls short. But either way, that's a great serve.
Looks like it really disturbs the ball too.
Yeah, well, and when when I played, the ball was white, so you couldn't really tell if the ball was moving a whole lot. But now you've got these multicolored balls. When it's not moving, you know that you're in trouble, because that thing's going to dip or dive either which way.
UCF having some fun on their bench, up 21-19. Already a set in their pocket, and coming off a 3-0 win on Friday against Houston. They have just hit another gear since losing to Cincinnati. Won 6 straight. Big swing by the Green Wave coming out of the timeout. Lexi Douglas gets another kill.
And that was a huge point right there for Tulane. You know, if they don't get that point and Lexi Douglas doesn't convert on this ball right here, you know, they're losing a point after a timeout, and that's not a good thing for them.
But still trailing. And a nice tap down the near sideline by UCF.
And that's a great time during the game to do a tip shot by Ali Sable. She's been hitting just bullets the whole match and then changes one up right in front of the defender.
All those banners hanging atop the venue, the impressive postseason resume of UCF as they try to march back to the NCAA tournament and try to march to a 2-set advantage on a kill by McKenna Melville.
Crucial point right there for UCF to get that point, and Melville finishing it off here on the outside, hitting high off the block and down for a point.
Melville has 6 kills. Preseason all-conference selection. The conference freshman of the year last year. And just a sophomore and doing all this for the Knights. Off the block. The other way, Melville again.
And you can really start to see UCF rolling. You know, they, like I said, 20 all, 21, 20, something like that. The mental side of the game, maybe it's playing at home, whatever it might be, but they're doing a good job at it.
These 2 sets almost identical in this final points. UCF went on a 5-0 tear in the first, and they go on a tear to end the second. A 4-0 run by the Knights to put the second set in the books, and they take a commanding 2-0 lead going into this little break. We are standing by. We're going to hear from head coach Todd Dagenais in just a second. But UCF has been quite impressive so far after tough fought. A couple of early points by Tulane. It's now the Knights up 2-0 on their home court. And they're continuing almost that perfect weekend where they won 3 straight sets against Houston. They've won the first 2 against Tulane. As we await Coach Dagenais, let the band die out a little bit. They're playing their song.
He's still upset about that call earlier in the game, and he wants to make sure when there's another tight call, it goes his way.
That's a good point. Working the officials. All right, right now let's go down to Despina McLaughlin, who's with head coach Todd Dagenais.
All right, guys, I'm here with Coach. Coach, you're up 2 sets, but you wanted some clarification here from the officials. What were you looking for?
Yeah, we were just talking about a play that was close to the net. It's not a big deal. I mean, there's 2 teams out here battling hard, and it was a close play at the net, and she saw it one way, I saw it the other, but they're the boss. You know, they get to make that call. So
you have a little bit more time here to talk to your team. What type of adjustments will you look to make heading into that 3rd set?
I don't think we really need to make a lot of adjustments. I just think we've been pretty high air. First set, we were really high air. We had to outkill them 2-1 just to win that set. I haven't taken a look at the second set yet, but I mean, yes, actually they had a lot of kills, so we really did a good job defensively and making sure that, you know, we bent but we didn't break. So I mean, it's a back and forth match. This is a classic battle between 2 top 25 level teams, and you know, anything can happen from here on out. We just got to buckle down and worry about us.
All right, thank you, Coach. Good luck.
All right, thanks Despina and Coach Todd Dagenais. UCF looks impressive. 2 sets in the books, though, trying to finish it off when we return. You're watching American Athletic Conference Volleyball on the American Digital Network.
Welcome into the ADN studio for a quick look at the Americans' top headlines. I'm Haley Out. In football, SMU quarterback Shane Buechele was named the Walter Camp National Offensive Player of the Week. He passed for a career-high 457 yards and 6 touchdowns in a 45-21 win against number 25 Temple, keeping the Mustangs undefeated. Buechele became one of 5 FBS players with at least 6 touchdown passes in a game this season. In women's soccer, with 2 goals this past week, USF senior forward Evelyn Vienne set a new conference record for career goals with 62. She has already broken the record for career points and ranks 5th in the nation this year with 14 goals and 31 points. In men's soccer, Memphis beat then number 3 SMU on Friday, which was the first loss for the Mustangs this season. It was the highest ever ranked win for Memphis in program history, and the Tigers have now set a new school record with 5 straight road victories. UCF is still unbeaten in league play and have not lost in their last 11 matches. They held off UConn Sunday in overtime. In UCF's past 2 games, freshman Gino Vivi has scored the golden goal to get the wins. In volleyball, Houston's Rachel Toulos registered 17 total blocks against Cincinnati on Sunday. Toulos set an American record, breaking the previous mark of 13. Her 17 blocks were the most by any player in a single match this season at the Division I level. Tulos went on to win the league's Defensive Player of the Week honors. To keep up with the Americans' top news and notes, make sure to follow along on Twitter at American_Conf.
High-level volleyball in that second set. Tulane hits 486. It's not enough. UCF hits 500. That's something that Coach Todd Dagenais kind of alluded to, Adam, that both teams hit very well in that second set. What was the difference ultimately for UCF down the stretch? Actually, 1 second here. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off as we now have Jim Barnes standing by with the speed of McLaughlin. Let's go down to that.
Coach, you got to talk to me. You just came out of that huddle. What was your message to the girls heading into this third set?
Well, we're just not serving like we normally do. So UCF's offense looks really good with us serving this week. So we got to serve tougher, and we got our offense going. We got to stop them. We got to stop their right sides.
Tell me about the urgency to hang on here in this third set and make this trip away from home worth it.
Well, both sets were tied at 18. It's been at the very end, so we got to finish.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks to Spina. So something key there, you mentioned the serve. You know, we've kind of harped on it all game.
Well, and that's what Coach Dagenais said, that they needed to win the serving game, and so far so good. And they're also passing a lot better and creating opportunities for their hitters.
And high-level hitting from both teams. 500 hitting percentage in that second set for UCF. And Allie Sable has kind of been the MVP for the Knights, that left-handed outside hitter that we kept talking about. Second set, she was very effective, and for the match, 9 kills on 11 swings and no errors, hitting over 800 for the match.
That's a great hitting percentage right there. 500 as a team is a great hitting percentage as well, but 800 as an individual. That's awesome.
And UCF still has 3 of those players hitting well over 500. Narissa Moravec at 667, and Lachey Harper still perfect, 5 for 5 in this match. As we begin set number 3, we'll see if momentum is indeed in the hands of the Knights. With those 2 late finishes to the sets where they won the final 4 points of the second and the final 5 of the first set. Tulane jumps out to that.
And you always wonder in this situation, does UCF, you know, let down, or do they just put the pedal down even further?
That's something Tulane knows from tough experience last Sunday. It was this exact situation. Tulane was up 2-0 on ECU, a team that's toward the bottom of the conference. Lost in that third set, lost a very tough fourth set, 29-27, and then, you know, momentum goes the way of the other team there, and they ended up losing in 5 sets.
Yeah, and you know, when you're up 2, I always tell my kids, coaching club, when you're up, 2 games, go for the jugular. Don't let off, because you never know what can happen.
Good dig there by UCF. Soft tap by Tulane, but saved by the Knights.
Nice pancake right there by Aaron Olson.
And a big hit off the block by Lexi Douglas. How much does fatigue start to play in, too? A little mental and physical here.
You're talking to the wrong player, because we played 3 out of 5 games side out scoring, which could last 3.5 hours. A 5-game match here lasts hour 45, 2 hours. So these guys should nowhere be out of shape at this point in this match. So I don't think that has anything to do with it right now.
Well, that's good. I would be out of shape, it looks like, but they're college kids. You're right. The rally scoring probably keeps it moving quicker.
Great dig in the back row right there for Tulane.
And Erica Hansel gets another kill. She's moving up on the kill list for the Green Wave. Been a balanced attack for Tulane. Lexi Douglas has 8, Kayla Dinkins has 7, and Michaela Heidenberg, almost a homecoming as we heard earlier, 5 kills. And here's Tulane pushing out to start this third set.
Then could UCF be having a little letdown right now?
McHugh sends one just skimming over the top of the net. Right back to Melville. And Melville gets that one.
That's I don't want to say that's a lucky play right there, but unfortunately for Tulane, you have two players going for the same ball. There's really no communication right there. Eric Hansel and Deacons kind of going for the same ball. One's got to take it, and it's got to be so quick.
Speaking of quick, Kayla Dinkins right down the middle.
Yeah, she wasn't too excited about that last play, so she had to make up right here. Once again, really making a move towards the setter, putting that ball, giving her an opportunity to put that ball down.
Hit it right through the block and right through the hands of Melville. Dig by Heidelberg. Back to Dinkins. And Amanda Giardina almost caught UCF off guard. Instead, pushed it to the outside.
Keyword there, almost.
And the Knights were ready, and the Knights were there for it.
That's a point right there that you know, I harp on my kids when they're back row setting that ball over the net. That's an easy ball to pick up, and especially at this level. I'm talking club level, but at this level, it's got to be an easy ball to pick up.
Kind of swung the point for UCF, and here they come with Melville racing back up front. Diving attempts, able to keep that off the court. Tulane has a chance. Oh. And that one goes to Tulane.
Yeah, double contact right there. That's unfortunate right there because you know, that ball had just a ton of spin off that dig, but that was a great rally right there. Both sides playing some good defense.
Minor edge for Tulane here in the third set. Both teams have started to hit very well. They showed in that second set just some service errors looming large for the Green Wave. They have 7 in this match. That point goes back to UCF. Well, the Knights really did some soul searching after the loss to Cincinnati. Todd Dagenet said, if we want to be a conference champion, we can't look across the net about having any doubt about who we are. I think they found their identity with 6 straight wins and up 2-0 in this one.
Well, talking to Coach Dagenet after that, you know, he said his team was really upset. You know, they felt they were really prepared, and they went in there and, you know, laid an egg in essence, and they really dug deep, like you said, figured out what they want to do, and kind of use that to have that momentum that you've been seeing with them.
UCF has won 6 straight. Tulane, coming off that loss to ECU, did get the win on Friday against USF. And it was the defense that we really saw in the first set from Tulane that helped them on Friday. They held USF to 0% hitting, 24 errors, and 24 kills.
That's almost impossible to do these days, this day and age.
For a team, I did a double take when I saw that. That was incredibly impressive defensive performance by Tulane. And this defensive performance has forced a timeout now by Todd Dagenet.
That was Christina Thompson taking advantage of a split in between the block and putting that ball down for a point.
Is this the fire and brimstone speech from Todd Dagenet trying to wake his team up?
It could be. And again, you know, sometimes teams get kind of lulled to sleep. You know, like, okay, we beat them already in 2 sets. Let's just get this done with. And then the other team starts catching fire. And again, the mental part of this game, I mean, if Tulane comes back and wins this set, then hypothetically wins the next set, then it's anybody's game. You know, instead of being able to just put the pedal to the metal and destroy a team and just get them off the court.
Maybe almost a frustration too, right? If you're UCF, about why is this Tulane team not giving up? You know, you've won 2 sets, you think it's just going to be easy. And then perhaps frustration starts to creep in when it gets difficult in the third set.
And it comes back on the defense. You know, it's the blocks that they're blocking you, the digs they're digging you on, and nothing's going down. And like we talked about earlier, you do get frustrated on that, and you figure out, you come to the sense, how do we do that? How do we put a ball down?
See if that timeout did stem any of the Tulane momentum, as UCF comes out swinging with a flourish. But Melville couldn't put it away. Cycle it back around to the outside, and that dig attempt lofted all the way back over the end line. And that momentum and give UCF a point.
Yeah, you always want to get the point after a timeout, whether it's, you know, whoever takes the timeout, you want to get that point. That's a key, because that psychologically works in your favor. That's almost like scoring 2 or 3 points sometimes.
This home match for UCF ends a long stretch on the road. They had been on the road 4 of 5 matches in October before this home stretch this weekend. They were able to navigate through that. 15-6 in the season, 8-1 in conference. And now trying to come back in this set. With a big kill right down the line by Kristen Thompson.
And Kristen Thompson just finding ever so little space down that line, down the right side, and putting it down for a point.
She will rotate out, and they will wipe up some sweat around that charge on the side of the court.
Must have been a couple of little drops of sweat that fell off Melville there. And it created a missed serve. And that's something that you know, as a player, you see a lot of kids maybe untie their shoe real quick. Excuse me, hey, I got my shoe's untied.
The unintentional stall tactic to ice the server, and it worked. The 8th service error by Tulane. But then right back down the line, Lauren Green was able to find some space.
Nice little slide play down the line there.
An 11-7 Tulane advantage.
Tight pass.
Right back over to Tulane.
We call that the happy birthday pass. The pass over right on top of the net, and Lauren Green just put that down with some authority.
Certainly was floating right up there for the easy finish. The eyes probably get big when that's coming right over the net like that. Right back again to Melville. UCF had a lot of success in the early part of this match with their middles. They've gone to McKenna Melville, one of the best attackers in the conference. And in this set, Tulane has been able to really deny Melville, especially what she was able to do in the first couple of sets.
UCF really struggling in this set, and what's keeping them in the game is the service errors, as we see another one by Tulane.
2nd in this set, 9th in the match, and it has kept UCF within striking distance. Does it just deflate all the momentum too when you work that hard for a point and give it back that quickly?
It really does, and sometimes when you see it happen 2 and 3 times in a row, then you really start to get gray hairs as a coach.
Sounds like you speak from experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lachey Harper angles that serve away from the middle, and no one able to corral it for UCF. Tulane found a soft spot. Lexi Douglas and Lauren Green. So Tulane's just looking for that push, that one big win to propel them into the NCAA tournament conversation. They already have a big one against Cincinnati. The RPI still sitting a little high for at-large berth candidacy, sitting at 62. You're not going to feel good about that, but a win today would vastly help their chances.
Great rally here.
A big swing by Erica Hansel, but UCF, they were ready for it.
Yeah, and those long rallies, you just want to put the ball down, and Melville and Moravec right there putting up a great block to finish that point.
Oh, errant pass, and UCF can't take advantage.
Well, Melville is just laughing about that. I'm kind of doing the same thing, like, why are you doing that? But, you know, sometimes those types of plays, when they kind of, you know, you should just play a free ball, set a free ball over, you know, to your setter, regroup. You got 3 attackers coming.
She was kicking herself after that one. But they go right back to her, trying to feed the sophomore. UCF pushes it back over that way.
Great dig down the line right there.
Tulane has been in position on Melville this set.
Another long rally here.
To the middle for UCF, and it pays off again. Narissa Moravec has been perfect today, hitting down the middle.
And when you have these long rallies, again, they sometimes can turn into 2 and 3 points. It's kind of a rally killer, if you will. And from the mental side of things, when you're not getting that long, you're not winning that long rally.
UCF trying to get the home court advantage working. Melville pops in the serve. Then Tulane finds some open space right in the center.
Yeah, and UCF in the net, getting called for a net violation there, but nobody was up on the block anyways on that X play, and just caught UCF on their heels there in defense.
16-11, Tulane edge. And almost looked like Lexi Douglas lost track of her place in the court, and that Melville kill went in.
It'd be really interesting to see if UCF can pull together a few points, you know, if they can get 2-to-1 in a point ratio right now, to see if they can't throw a little shimmy on Tulane's game right now.
Did trail by as many as 5 points in this set, now 16-12. You can see the Knights have that 2-0 lead. But Tulane dead set on extending this trip here in Orlando.
Yeah, Michaela Heidelberg just delivering the word through the block of, in between the block of UCF for a point.
To the outside, Christina Fisher had a big first set, trying to get it going, and helps spark that point for the Knights.
Yeah, tight set there, off play. When your setters aren't really setting the ball, anything can happen. And when you're not a setter, you know, coaches always tell you, hey, it doesn't have to be a perfect set. Get it somewhere, you know, 4 to 5, 6 feet off the net. Give us a chance.
And that brings Allie Sable back in, and Erin Olsen. And Sable has been terrific today, as has Olsen setting up this offense.
Oh,
great swing by Lauren Green.
Those are the kind that you just want to just put away. But boy, Lauren Green just up and timed this ball perfectly right off this nice little pass. It's a 2-set. She's just standing there, not really getting an approach. And she did a pretty good job. I mean, that's a 10-foot hit right there with no approach.
Caught Sable off guard by the force of that swing. And Lachey Harper continues to hit well.
Going back to the middle, back to, you know, what got him in winning the first 2 sets.
No longer perfect, but 6 kills on 8 swings. It still has worked very well out of the middle for UCF today. And that one kind of They hit off the head of Kushmaner.
Yeah, I think Mackenzie Kushmaner is just about getting out of the way of this ball, not really trying to dig it. It's kind of an interesting play right here, a little reverse X play, and she saw that thing coming and got out of the way.
Now Tulane trying to close out where they have struggled in these first 2 sets.
What a dig. Taylor Henningsman taking she just put the chicken wing out there because she knew she was going to get crushed, and that actually was a good dig.
And Tulane with some momentum.
Watch this thing down the line. Whoop. Oh, it hit her shoulder. She tried.
But a timeout there by Todd Dagenet. Yeah, we've seen back-to-back players getting pelted here. So if you're Tulane in this situation, 2 sets down, the last 2 sets you have struggled to close out. How do you lock in and close out this 3rd set?
Well, you continue. You don't do anything differently than you're doing now. You know, they've taken control of this set right now. They've got the momentum on their hand. Just continue to do what you're doing, and you don't need to push. I think when teams start to push, you know, things start to happen, and it's still, the game is still young. Trust me. I remember, I always tell the story, but in one of my first 14s matches that I was coaching, we were down 24-10, and we came back and won that game 26-24, and won the next game, you know, 24 whatever.
Yeah, that's got to be demoralizing for the other team.
Well, especially if you're up 24-10 and you can't put 1 point away. Yeah, they just, I mean, we mentally took them right out of the game. So I'm not saying that's the same situation. What I'm saying is 14-20 there's still a lot of game to be played.
Tulane certainly knows that, having played a 29-27 set last weekend. And UCF had to go a little further on their first set against Houston on Friday. They won 27-25, but then got a further margin on each subsequent set. And Tulane looks locked in, coming right out like they were earlier in the set.
That was a huge point right after the timeout to get, and UCF just looks a little bit out of it this game for sure. They're definitely not playing the ball that they have in the first, like they did in the first 2.
Sable trying to spark that momentum, trailing 21-14. Kushmaner plays it up for her, and Sable gets the point.
And it's always great to have, again, a left-hander on the right side, because when the setter digs this ball and the libero comes in to set, you can set an on-hand hitter, meaning she can see the ball. It's coming onto her left side.
Sable's had the touch on that left side. Don't go to her. Instead, the other way, and Melville spikes it home.
And this is where UCF, if they're going to make a move, they need to make it now. They can't wait until they get like to 22, 23. They need to start making a move now.
Olsen to Sable again. Here comes that momentum from UCF. Sable on the right side. Melville's got some space on the outside, and looks like they have the group out there that could be primed to make a run.
Well, and just like you know, Coach Barnes was saying, his team needs to learn how to finish, and this is a tough position for them to be in right now. Even though they're up, they need to finish,
and that's a key point. Take back the serve. Tulane 22-17 edge. And Kaylee McHugh back serving. One of their best servers, and someone who pretty much is everywhere on the court for this Tulane team. Oof.
Point Tulane.
Now the Green Wave can feel this set.
It's funny when all the middle blockers get an opportunity to set. They really want to, even though they don't set a lot in practice, so they don't have to get a lot of practice at it.
Played back over to Sable, and able to block that in. right on the line to give Tulane set point.
And a great block right here by Lexi Douglas to just take that line shot away from Sable. And it all started with a great dig by libero, Kaylee McHugh in the back row.
Certainly has been an impressive third set by Tulane after they dropped the first two. Now hitting .235 for the match. And a serve played just too short. And Tulane agonizingly close, but can't finish yet.
Our coach has always said growing up, if you miss a serve after timeout, you miss game point, or you miss match point, you are out of the game. You can't miss those serves. You got to put the pressure on.
Tough to take your libero out, though. She has been instrumental, but yeah, the situation holds. And
I agree 100%.
Luckily, it doesn't come back to harm Tulane. The Green Wave grabbed set number 3, 25-18. So with perhaps a new ball game in the midst, let's go down to the sideline and Despina McLaughlin.
Guys, Tulane feisty here in the third set, but UCF is used to scenarios like this. When I asked Coach Dagenet what makes this group unique, it's how they control the chaos. Yes, he says this group of team players all come from parents who are coaches, so they know what it takes to win. They've got the work ethic, and more than anything, they just stay even keeled. So expect to see this group do just that here in the fourth set, guys.
Thanks to Despina. Certainly Tulane came out with the momentum and desperation almost of a team that knew the match would be over. Now does UCF, kind of as we were saying, almost that reverse psychology where if they don't win this set, all of a sudden they lose all that momentum?
Well, you know, that's going through their minds right now. Of course, you know, Coach Dagenet is like, hey, that game's over. You know, let's get back to the way we were playing. Let's get back to set in the middle. We didn't set the middle a lot in that last match, and just do the things that we can do. We don't need to press, but there will be some urgency on this game for sure.
All right, let's take a break. Come back for the fourth set on the American Digital Network.
No matter where Tulaneans go or what we're doing, we're making an impact. Over 160,000 Tulaneans making a difference at home and around the world.
When we say charge on, we commit to do extraordinary things, to put in the work, to be smarter and stronger, to let them know we're coming. Charge on! Charge on!
Tulane jumped out to a quick start in the third set and it never looked back. It didn't give UCF a chance to even think about a rally. And now a 2-1 set advantage for the Knights, but momentum perhaps with the Green Wave. Alongside Adam Johnson, Mike Lefko with you. Only 7 matches left in the regular season, counting this one, so everything big and building toward the inaugural American Athletic Conference Volleyball Tournament. And with 7 matches left and perhaps a postseason on the line, you have to think this is perhaps maybe one of the most critical matches left in the season for Tulane.
It definitely is, because if they can take this match, it's going to give them a huge mental boost finishing out the rest of the season. If they lose, then it kind of takes the opposite effect, and they either go downhill more or they just put too much pressure on themselves moving forward.
And if you're Tulane, you're really fighting in a competitive West division. They're tied with Tulsa for third. They trail SMU in Houston by 1 game. The Mustangs and the Cougars 7-2 records, and Tulsa and Tulane both 6-3 in conference. And they have to play all those teams again still, so Tulane will have a chance to move up in the West as this season comes down to the wire. But first, the Green Wave have to come back against UCF, and the Knights jump out in front to start set number 4.
Yeah, McKenna Melville and Lachey Harper right there starting off, sending a message real quick. Hey, we're not going to let this happen again, and getting up on that block for a point.
The middles blocked very well for UCF in the early sets. They also hit very well. And the middles hit well for Tulane. Lauren Green, no hesitation, is crushing that ball.
Already looks like the start of the first or second game where all the middle blockers were getting all the sets.
Lauren Green has 9. And Lachey Harper has been one of the best hitters for UCF with 6 kills on 8 swings.
Another block.
Harper and Melville. And McKenna Melville filling the stat sheet. 10 kills, 8 digs, and 3 blocks.
And they set up perfectly on this one, and that's 2 for 2 already in the game.
To the middle again. The bread and butter, the feed the well, whatever you want to call it for, hey, keep going to that play.
Feed the well sounds good.
Like that. Think of it. I'll try to think of another good one by the time this is done. Bread and butter just makes you kind of hungry.
So, yeah.
Well, they are feeding the well. Tulane has gotten both points with its middles in this set.
And vice versa. UCF has been going outside, and Melville's been getting tons of reps already early in this set.
They keep feeding the 6'1" sophomore from Eagan, Minnesota. Entered the match second in the conference in kills per set.
Another block from the right side there.
Sliding back over, and UCF gets that one.
And Kristen Thompson didn't look like she got a great approach on that ball. That looked like it was hitting the middle of the net almost.
Here's Amber Olsen, younger sister of Aaron Olsen, both very good setters for the Knights. They're the two that run the UCF offense. Olsen's also a pretty good server. Amber Olsen, that is, pretty good server. 19 service aces last year.
It'd be unique playing with your sibling, I would say. Had a good conversation with Coach Dagenais about that.
Might be a good and bad thing, right? Depending on how sisters deal with each other.
Well, he says it's a good thing, right? And if I, knowing my brother, if I had to play with my brother, I don't know that I would be. It would be fun. It might be fun, but I don't know.
Might have some infighting on the court.
Yeah, for sure.
Looks like it's been a boost for UCF as Aaron Olsen gets set to wind down her career. Amber Olsen will still be here for a couple more seasons. And Tulane able to stem that momentum. They end a little stretch by the Knights and get the serve back. 11 blocks by UCF, 6 blocks by Tulane in this match. Two of the better defensive teams in this American Athletic Conference. It's a good dig by Tulane after a big swing by Melville and a miss hit by UCF.
Yeah, it looked like, I think that was Moravec just kind of didn't quite get all the ball and sliced it out of bounds.
Douglas sends it high and out once again. There will be one thing that Jim Barnes will look at after this match. Service errors, 11 of them now for Tulane.
That's quite a few. If you're getting the equal amount of aces, it's okay.
Not quite. Actually, no aces yet for Tulane. So that's just 11 points given away. UCF, the numbers a little more manageable. 3 service errors, 2 service aces. So that's been the one thing that has really undercut Tulane. Their attack has been so good.
Michaela Heidelberg here with a nice shot right in between the block and down for a point.
Back to the outside. Good swing by Tulane.
Kristen Thompson on the right side there. That would look like a wicked turn on that ball. That was hit inside the block.
Thompson bringing the green wave right back into it. He's got a couple of kills this set. 4 for the match. Fisher trying to hit right through and does. A lot of velocity on that arm coming through.
Another good play. They're still not going to the middles though, and even off the good sets, but again creating that one-on-one opportunity for their hitters on the outside, and Fisher taking advantage of that.
Tulane couldn't get it clean, so back up for UCF. To the outside, Anne-Marie Watson. She had a big first set, has been quiet through the middle, and now gets a good point on the outside.
That was a great play by Christina Fisher right there on a tight set. Just kind of threw it back into the block and had her own teammates cover, so gave them another opportunity.
Big running leap and too strong from Michaela Heidelberg.
But she really went up and unloaded on that one. I thought she got all hands on that, but the angle we're at, it's hard to see.
10-6 UCF. They have done well in the serve of their libero Mackenzie Kutschmaner. To the outside, Watson again. Finding that momentum. And a timeout, Jim Barnes. He doesn't like what's shaping up here in this 4th set. UCF up 2-1 and 11-6. And when you're an outside hitter like that, and maybe the ball hasn't come to you a lot, when you get back in a rhythm, how helpful is it to find that groove?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, it's, you know, for me, I'm a rhythm player. When I was on the, you know, when I was playing at USC and in high school, I was always on the court. When I got to the national team, I'm behind a guy named Karch Karai, the best player in the world. Got to go in and play for him the first time. Shanked 3 balls. They took me out of the game because I'm just not used to not being in the game. So same thing on the outside for an outside hitter. If you're not getting it, then all of a sudden you get in a rhythm, then you start flowing. So it definitely helps.
That's a challenge, I imagine, too, for UCF with so much talent. You have Anne-Marie Watson, McKenna Melville, and Lachey Harper in the middle, Marissa Moravec, and someone like Allie Sable, too, who hasn't played much this season, now taking advantage. There's only one volleyball. You have to spread that around and keep all your hitters happy. And like you were saying, Adam, if their rhythm hitters keep their momentum flowing, too, like we just saw with back-to-back points for Anne-Marie Watson.
That could be hard. You know, you look at a team like Cincinnati. They've got the #1 hitter in the well, I don't know about the country, but I know in the conference for sure, and in Thompson. And you know, she's got there's a lot of wealth around her also, but she's getting a majority of the points, so teams can kind of camp on her a little bit.
Well, out of the timeout, it has been so critical in this match. Tulane has done pretty well out of their timeouts, especially last set, where they used the timeout to take advantage and pull away. But that time, not what you want out of a timeout. Could not handle the serve receive.
And that's just that's really just a lack of concentration right there, right after a timeout. That's, you know, we haven't seen that type of a pass all match so far. #2 right there.
It's been on the serve of Kutschmaner for a while. UCF is rolling behind the serving game of the 5'8" libero, the redshirt senior And the transfer from NC State. This is just the first year for Kushmaner, stepping right in to fill off after Jordan Pingle, their all-time leader in digs, graduated.
They've also blocked 4 or 5 balls already for points, which is something they haven't been doing a lot of.
And a big swing by Anne-Marie Watson again. 3 kills in the last 5 points. And Jim Barnes will use his last timeout. So sensing an important situation right here. It's not late in the set yet, but fires timeouts in the span of about 3 points to keep this from getting out of reach.
Well, and as we saw in the the first 2 sets, it was really close up to 20, 19 all, 20 all, whatever, or 18 all as Barnes said, and then UCF kind of took over. The third set comes, and UCF goes down 4, and they really can't recover from that. So when you see a score of 14-6, you got to call your second time out and say, hey, we need to start focusing now so we don't let this thing get out of our reach.
The intensity was so high for those first 2 sets, 25-19, 25-20, and then, yeah, like you said, that third set really didn't feel close, even though it was 25-18, but Tulane was up the whole way. Now this is exactly what UCF is trying to do. They have been up this entire set, essentially, and up 8 points with just a handful more to go. Well, after this one does wrap up, UCF stays at home for 1 more, and they're actually home for 3 of their next 4. The lone match, a one-off road trip to SMU on Sunday, November 3rd. 2 in a row coming up at home for Tulane, Wichita State, and Tulsa. That will be a big match. The Green Wave lost to Tulsa earlier this year. Tulane trying to find something, and they do after UCF had that block in the net.
Sometimes you wonder if they're pulling him into the net, if they do anything they can possible. Score that point.
It does result in Tulane ending that streak. The UCF stretch of points comes to an end, still leading by 7. Both teams swept on Friday, dealing with a little more adversity than they were used to this weekend, but playing much better caliber of competition.
Some great little rally going on right now.
And blocked, not blocked, but hit right through the block. Michaela Heidelberg, 5'7" sophomore.
I was just gonna ask you how tall she is, because boy, she does not look that tall out on that court. But Coach Barnes was saying, hey, she's electric. She can jump well. She's quick. That makes up for it.
Yeah, and that size, he was also saying, right, it catches people off guard a little bit because they don't expect her to come with that ferocity or to get the ball up where she can get it.
And in this day and age, a lot of the top schools are just, they won't even look at you if you're not 6 foot or something to that extent. I mean, I've seen quite a few players that are now 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", who are outside hitters, who jump well, who play the game, who are not giving up points. You see them playing a lot more now.
Erin Olsen is back in for UCF. She's the one who just sent in that serve. Long run, just out. And UCF has strung together a couple of points in a row.
Yeah, that was a great play, actually, by Lachey Harper. She decided not to block on this ball. Saw that the attacker was a little bit off the net. You didn't get to see it in the replay, but picked up a free ball right there, which created that point.
Catches the block off guard. Nice touch by Erica Hansel. Got them leaping up, so just put a little off speed. Right down the middle, there's UCF's going to the well.
Well, it's kind of interesting because if you watch this game, UCF's been setting outside and right side a majority of the time. This might be the second set in this in the middle in this set, and they caught it. It's perfect timing. Caught them off guard.
And they went to it early, and then really have gotten away from that. Maybe maybe by design to maybe catch them off guard or because they have such good outside hitters. But going back to the middle, UCF's been successful.
And Melville just having a heyday on the outside today, off the top of the block right there. And it really looks like, you know, Tulane is deflated in this fourth set.
Perhaps used up all that momentum and energy to get back in the third, down 2-0, win an important third set. And then UCF, don't want to say woke up, but, you know, we mentioned a lot about how subconsciously you just kind of relax a little bit after going up 2-0. And UCF has reignited what put them up 2-0. After Tulane sends it over, UCF back down the middle. Lachey Harper.
Back to back in the middle, going to the well. The well is definitely not dry.
Lachey Harper, 8 kills on 10 swings.
Not too shabby there.
And a big one by Melville, not touched by anyone though, that was out. There's always that quick, ooh, don't touch, it's hot, hot potato, and it did go too long.
Tulane definitely on that last play looks really out of it. The communication is not there. You know, they had an opportunity to score a point. They have a free ball that goes over. You know, fortunately for them, Melville hit that ball out for the point.
Block back to the other side, Melville, and able to get that kill. The talent of the outsides for UCF really paying off. Kenna Melville, Anne-Marie Watson, and Allie Sable have been very impressive this afternoon. And that's what Todd Dagenet has built in his 12th season here at UCF. Big swing by Tulane, and the Green Wave, Jim Barnes, trying to get to that level. Good at building programs in his 4th season as the Green Wave head coach.
Nice cover there.
Melville gonna go for it. Just hits it long once more.
That's one thing as an outside hitter. You know, you want to go up and be able to bang a ball and know that your teammates are going to cover you. And that was a, you know, great cover there by Cooch Manor.
Touched by Tulane. That one was carrying towards the end line. Anne-Marie Watson smiling a little. Yes, they gotten away with one.
Well, and it's nice to be tall. She didn't really get a good approach on that one.
It is nice to be tall. That should be my life motto. If I was tall, I would say it's nice to be tall. UCF trying to close out a win. Tulane trying to prove they might have some fight left in them.
Yeah, Christina Thompson, she's got a really nice angle shot from the right side, and you know she's a right-hander, so it's a little bit tougher for us right-handers to hit on the right side. Although I loved hitting from the right side.
Melville likes hitting from all sides, it seems like, but just missed on that angle.
That's almost her 3rd air out of 4 attempts.
Yeah, volume hitter here in this match. That's her 50th swing. 14 kills, 7 errors on 50 total attempts. And now a timeout by Todd Dagenet. UCF almost getting into that same mentality that hurt them in set number 3. Relaxing with the match seemingly in hand. Here comes Tulane, and it sparks another timeout by the Knights.
And that can happen, and as we see happening, you know, slowly but surely you give up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and pretty soon it's like, hey, they're right there with us. We got to start playing some ball. And I'm sure that's what Todd's saying to his team right now. You know, you got to relax, get back to playing the way you were in that first, you know, half of the game, and just finish them off. Don't even give them an opportunity to play with you.
Jim Barnes trying to urge his team on as well. An experienced yet still youthful Tulane team. They have 6 starters back. The 29-win team last year. Going up and down the roster. Outside of senior Kaylee McHugh, a lot of these important players, sophomores, even some freshmen, and a couple of juniors sprinkled in there. So the future very bright for Tulane. They're just trying to get ever incrementally closer to making the NCAA tournament. They have not reached an NCAA tournament since 2009. And they're fighting back in this 4th set. Blocked out. UCF will inch ever closer.
And Marie Watson right there with a great shot down the line. High down the line off the block.
And with Kuchmaner back there, this is the server who sparked UCF in this set. Battled off a string of about 6 points in a row to what we thought had put the set out of reach. And they're doing it again on the serve of their libero.
And they've scored a few points right after the timeout, which is crucial because those points, like I say, they add up and feel like you're getting 2-3 points off each point.
Well, Kuchmaner, 22 digs, 4 assists. And it's helped UCF serve well. And one of those beautiful fat balls up top to put down by Anne-Marie Watson.
Happy birthday, Anne-Marie Watson, putting that ball down with some authority. That thing hit inside the 10-foot line.
Well, UCF trying to close this one out. Fans on their feet. They can't just yet. 24-16. They won the first set, 25-19. Won the second set, 25-20. Tulane took set number 3, 25-18. And now trying to serve their way and stay alive. As UCF standing, and they end it. And Anne-Marie Watson, the one to do it. UCF wins in 4 sets, 25-17 in this final set. The Knights improved to 9-1 in the conference. They've won 7 straight, and Tulane will fall to 16-7 and 6-4 on the season. Adam, what impressed you the most about UCF's performance today?
Well, the fact that they came out strong, but you know, the thing that really impressed me was when it was 18-all in both the first and second sets, they were able to rise above Tulane and really put it to them in those 2 games. Now, you know, if I was the coach, I would be too happy about that 3rd set because it looks like they had a little bit of a letdown, and it was proven in this 4th set where they came out with some, you know, urgency, if you will, and they played a great game.
UCF will take that momentum, 7 straight wins. They have a little rivalry match on Friday against UCF. Tulane now firmly in the mix of trying to still get a berth in the conference championship. The top 6 teams make the American Athletic Conference tournament. They are tied with Tulsa. They trail SMU and Houston. We're waiting to hear from UCF head coach Todd Dagenais, as we will hear what he says after this one. And right now, let's go down to Despina McLaughlin, who's standing by with head coach Todd Dagenais.
Thank you, Coach. You told me you needed 4 activated as far as offense goes. You had 5 and 3 in double digits. What can you say about the offensive performance of your young women today?
Well, we knew that we had to balance the ball around, and for us to be able to go out there to beat these guys, they're so good defensively. They touch everything. The only chance is to have them guessing where the ball's coming from every time. And we needed every point coming from every angle of approach we can. They were phenomenal defensively. We really struggled to score. And I thought our errors compounded things too much. And, you know, I thought when it mattered, I said before when we talked, I said it was going to be a serve pass game. When it came down to it, and I think they had more errors than we did, I think that was big. I thought we handled the ball pretty well. We were able to run our offense decently, not great, but decent. I think we were able to hold them down a little bit, but I tell you, we just beat a great team out there, and it just came down to just a few mistakes here and there. And I thought we settled in a little bit better than they did. Maybe one of the benefits of being at home. But I'm really proud of our effort.
Tell me this, 7 matches, wins in a row. What does this do for you forward, and what did you see out of this match that stood out?
Yeah, I think really what it is, I mean, the streaks and the things like that, all that is you're just executing. You're doing little things right. You know, you just have to keep executing small skills, which leads to a system, which leads to points, leads to sets, leads to matches. We really try to break it down in the smallest element we can. That's what we were talking about at the end, even when they were making their run. Just break it down and do your job. Whatever your job is, do it. And, you know, I thought we did a nice job at the end of just kind of settling in, putting points together by just doing our job.
Tell me this, you guys get to celebrate after this one. What does that look like?
Celebration, we really don't do a whole lot of celebrating. We'll go in the locker room, we'll talk a little bit about the match, rehash some of the good things, we'll talk about the things that we want to clean up for practice this week. We always sing the fight song afterwards. That's what a celebration is, but after that we're 0-0 and we got to get ready for the next one.
Thank you, Coach, so much.
My
Good luck
pleasure.
to you the
Thank
rest of the
for
way.
being here. Take care.
All right, thank you, Despina. Don't go too far. We're going to go right back down there in a few seconds to hear from McKenna Melville, certainly one of the better players in this match, finished with 14 kills. All that balance, that kind of lead to a little bit of what we were talking about, why they maybe went to the middle early, went away from it, just trying to keep Tulane off guard in this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
A little more to wrap up, but first let's go right back down to Despina, and she's standing by with McKenna Melville.
All right, girlie, you guys had to claw back after dropping that third set. Tell me about your mindset in the fourth.
Yeah, I think our mindset was back on track, so it's all good. We played well, we played together in the first, second, and fourth. Third, we kind of started playing individually, so we got back on the right track.
Tell me this, what's your biggest takeaway from now stringing together 7 straight wins?
Yeah, we just think of it as a 1-0. We just won that one, so what's coming next? But we're playing really well together right now, and it's working well with us.
You guys look like you're having some fun out there. Will there be a celebration? How do you guys do that?
We get a day off tomorrow, so that's a little bit of our celebration. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun out there, so it's really fun.
From your perspective on the court to turn the page and command the whole fourth set, what had to happen?
Yeah, I think we just had to settle down. For me personally, I couldn't think, oh, I'm trying to do too much. Just play my game, do what I could do. I think everyone kind of had to put that into their brains too as well.
All right, congratulations, all right? Enjoy the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Despina. So UCF looks like winning feels good right now for Todd Dagenet and his Knights.
It always feels good when you win, and especially when it looks like they've got some candy going on out there. It's Halloween. There's some costumes. This is a great atmosphere to play volleyball and have success with.
This is an atmosphere, too, that UCF will get the benefit of playing postseason, at least the conference tournament, on their home court. Fans showed out, and it's going to be tough for any team to come in there and beat the Knights.
It's tough, and you know my experience from that, being in 3 Final Fours in the finals, 2 of them being played at UCLA, Pauley Pavilion, their home court. It's tough to go in and play against a team like that.
So UCF wins their 7th straight. That'll do it for our broadcast this afternoon. Big thanks to Despina McLaughlin with Adam Johnson. I'm Mike Lefko. UCF wins in 4. The Knights 9-1 in the American Athletic Conference. Thanks for watching on the American Digital Network.